Ghana, welcome back on the AM show. Time now for me to share with you my blunt thoughts. I'm going to go quickly. Stay with me. Don't lose me. Stay with me. And I've titled it, An Institutionalized National Ponzi Scheme. Our misleaders under the microscope. An institutionalized national Ponzi scheme. Our misleaders under the microscope. As always, I'm going to share thoughts with you. You will read between the fine print and conclude for yourself. I'm not going to conclude for you. You are well able to do that for yourself. But this morning, before I get to my slides and talk about Kweku Kwarteng and everything in between, the education ministry, and some aspects of our national life that get you scratching your head, including the latest ambulance sagas and all that, I have heard both the president's and the Ochehene's responses to the Ejapadia document. I mean, it is perfectly within their rights to defend themselves. One cannot assume, even provided everything in there were out of some Machiavellian playbook, that all of it were perfectly aligned with the president's stance or positioning, or that all of it had come to pass or would come to pass. Where I dissent, depart, disagree, is where I stray from the president's line of argument, where I see that whichever detractor may have put this together for political gain must then have been a clairvoyant, to have seen so lucidly, so clearly into the future on so many points, as the president suggests. Mind you, this document is from many years ago. I personally read it some, 3+ years ago? So with the arrival, and this is what, I'm just going to quote some of what the document says. I'm not even going to go into the meat of it. The foreword. Listen. With the arrival of Nana, we see the rebirth of a second J.B. Dankwa who has come to the rescue. I'm also not surprised that there has been a lot of propping for J.B. Dankwa. You can't denigrate J.B. Dankwa. I wouldn't stand for anyone denigrating Nkrumah, and I wouldn't stand for anyone denigrating J.B. Dankwa, though you cannot compare J.B. Dankwa to Nkrumah. That is my thinking. One independence for us. He said, independence now. The other was with the other group that in the end, we're hoping we would stay longer under British rule, so they would come and lead the country. And they said independence within the shortest possible time. So for me, it is clear. That notwithstanding, you should not denigrate J.B. Dankwa either. But if you see the trend, and even the attempts over time, University of Ghana wanting to name it, was he the only one who did something there? Anyway, although the Asante group, and I'm going back to quoting the Ejapadia document, although the Asante group within the current MPP is gearing itself to take over the party after Nana's tenure in 2024, it would be ideal if we could work to bypass them in 2024. With hard work, we could work to pass the mantle over to a non-Akan person, preferably from the north, under whose presidency we could secure the maturity of our takeover project. This person must have been a magician. It goes on. When we have finally captured the command and control sectors of the country for our private use, we will then be in a better position to wield the necessary political and economic muscle to manage the destiny of this country under the reign of the House of Ofori-Pening. To be specific, we need to strengthen our efforts to control the mineral resources, pay attention, mineral resources, as well as the electricity and water institutions. The success of this project depends on the way in which we, for the time being, control the judiciary and the press. We conclude with a word of caution. Until we have secured the critical sectors under our control, we should minimize the danger of obvious acts of individual corruption. I think that's where some people may have lost the plot, in order not to alienate the rest of the population. We must focus on the ultimate goal. We must seek first the economic and financial levers, and all other things will follow eventually. If you read other parts of the book, it goes on to talk about capturing the mining sector, oil and gas, telecommunications, every facet of our national life. I ask, is it sheer coincidence that this detractor, someone from, let's say, the other side of the political spectrum, could forecast so well, peek into the future, and condemn someone from the past to that future? In other words, the person is in the now, saw the future, and came and wrote something about the future, and all of it... Anyway, Manu Bokiti. As for me, I only put the thoughts out there and leave you to decide. Read between the lines. Form your own thoughts. I just wanted to start from that angle. I'll go very quickly with this, and it's a wrap. But feeding from that same line of thinking, then you come here Kweku Kwarteng, and he's saying this. I am not a member of any party. He says, we always offer higher interest to lenders, borrow more, use a part to repay previous debts, and the rest to pay for the current year's overspending. Talking about our national economy. Next slide. So, we have been running our country's economy like a Ponzi scheme. And I will say, by extension, not just our economy, our entire national life. In many ways, doesn't make sense. And in many ways, we've been running our country like a Ponzi scheme. The economy is struggling today because lenders are now refusing to lend to us. It is just like a Ponzi scheme, going into crisis once people stop depositing their money with them. Okay. Now, Kweku Kwarteng's take. What can be done? Acknowledging failures of leadership. I know some people, they be that. Somebody to me say, oh, we dia ya nye ni ye kra. Any enka epononche. Some of our politicians, and I'm not just referring to misleaders from today. I'm referring to some of those in the past as well. Sometimes you wonder what enters them at some point within governance. Because when they are coming, they are like sheep. When they get in, they are like wolves. Acknowledging failures of leadership. 2, address decades of bad politics and economic mismanagement. 3, leading by example. This last point, no, sent to know, said leading by example. Rallying all Ghanaians to contribute. And you see, it will follow through. If you come and say, look, I admit, over here, I said I would do this. I was not able to do it. Mumfancheme. Bad politics and mismanagement, trying to turn things around, and people can see that you are trying. Show leadership by example. No one is perfect. We don't expect you to be perfect. I am not perfect. You are not perfect. Can you admit it? And once you do these, then you'll be able to do point number 4, because Ghanaians will voluntarily follow you. Because you lead by setting that example. Next slide. But from there, I also want to talk about another aspect that gets me, the ambulance purchase case and the amount involved. I'm talking about the Kasialato-Forsen one. Whether it goes to the apex court or not, with the legal vacation and everything in October, and hey, I'm not bothered by that. $2.37 million involved. Next slide. Then you look at the reality check. The 307 ambulances issue. If you look at, and I'm just drawing some linkages, right? Look at the nexus. If you look at the repairs that we touted under the latest one, not the Kasialato-Forsen one, I just stated that for you to know how much was involved. 2.37 million euros. This one, we're looking at 34.9 million. It depends on what you're looking at because the figures go higher. 34.9 million for repairs. The purchase of same, just a few of them, would be 54.3 million. And I'll give you the numbers. We could actually purchase a number of brand new ones, though not up to 307, 200 and something. For this figure, the repairs alone will cost that. Where does that happen? Where? Oh, Ghana. Next slide. Shall we go to the next slide? All right. So the reality check, the ambulance purchase case, 2014 to 2016, that one, $2.37 million euros involved. This 307 ambulance brouhaha repairs, 2019 to 2024, you're looking at 89.2 million dollars. Why am I saying Ghana cedis? Dollars. Dollars versus euros. Now you look at the gap in there. Let's go to the next slide. It paints a better picture. So, of course, these two now acquitted and discharged. The AG says he's going to the apex court. But if you look at the Big C Trading LLC, actually offering to pay 2 million euros to the state to end the case. Yes, they beat that. We'll go ahead, pursue it to its logical conclusion. Next slide. So the question I want to ask is, who is really causing financial loss to the state over here? 2.37 million. Versus the 80-something million. Who is causing financial loss to the state? I'm not saying anything. I'm asking you the question. You answer for yourself. Now, this is where I'm going to wrap. Procurement irregularities and the education ministry. You see, contracts, that's what the place where the most corruption is happening. Procurement. It is. And I'm not surprised. Years ago, we know the story. I'll not get into it. 55%, the equivalent of 29.6 million Ghana cedis, of procurement irregularities was under the education ministry. I thought recently when the education minister was speaking, and I have said there are areas where I'm full support of him, like with STEM education and what he's doing. I'm not so much in support in terms of free SHS, not the quality, not how it's being delivered. I have my issues with that. But to be fair to the man, STEM, fantastic. I doff my hat to him. But I can't run away from this. Why are there so many procurement irregularities under your ministry? Sir, Adain, what's going on? 29.6 million Ghana cedis. We want to hear you address those two, Mr. Minister. And the source of the procurement breaches from the education ministry, you look at the University of Cape Coast, Akentan Appiah Menka University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development, and the Simon Diedong Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies. All of these entities involved. And that, the total figure when it comes to irregularities, 54.7 million. Behold. So you see, I keep getting worried. When? I don't like it. Let me just let you know, to come here and have to chastise and do all this and put these things there. I wish I could come someday and say, you know what? I have nothing to say on this matter, and these are all the pluses. I talk about the pluses too, but the minuses are too many. One step forward, 100 steps backwards. When? It's your future, my future, our children's future. Will things get any better? Only God knows. My name is Benjamin Akako. These are my blunt thoughts shared with you, raw, hot, unedited, undiluted. As always, I pray, may God bless, may He help Ghana and make her great and strong.